All right, good morning. Let's see if we're not getting too squeaky here in a minute. Come on. Checking 1 2. Checking 1 2. Good stuff today. Come on. Yep, okay, we're good. Alright. Let's get recording. Good morning. My name is Ryan. This is Coffee and Resales. Welcome again. I get stuff from yard sales, garage sales, thrift stores, and various other places, and try and make a few extra bucks from them online. This morning, 4 good sales and a handful of neat buys that we're going to go over. I had a good day yesterday at Goodwill because I had a neat little score. So, anyway, let's get into it. First off, $9 for 4 modern print choose your own adventure books. This is a type of thing, if I can grab them for 50 cents a piece or less, then I will get them and lot them up. The more you got, the better you can do with it profitability wise, actually. So 4 books, $9, a little less than I think I really wanted to, but I also had a couple of them sitting around for a little too long, so I lighted them up to get them out the door. So, probably made a couple bucks there. So, anyway, choose your own adventure. If you can get them cheap, the older ones do a lot better. The older ones that are later numbered do a lot better. So, pay attention to those when you grab them. Next up, we'll go from that to $20 in local history. This is History, Pulaski and Bleckley County, Georgia, Volume 2. It's a heavy book. $20. So, if you're out there surfing around and you see an old book that's local history, it's probably worth snagging. I've sold a handful of these. I've had a handful that have sat a little too long. So you need to just make sure that you get them. Morning, Kevin. Again, one of my usual guys who tunes in and says hi. So anyway, local histories, grab them if they're in good shape. Sometimes if not. If they're old, it's even better. So something to think about. All right, on to the fun stuff. Last weekend, 2 weekends ago, I snagged a bunch of late 90s, early 2000s fantasy PC games at a yard sale for way less money than I should have paid for them. But the guy was just looking to dump them, and I actually didn't know the pricing on some of these things, so I was just taking a guess. I didn't even look. I looked like 1 or 2 up. I was like, these may be worth grabbing. So I did. And I sold Heroes of Might and Magic 3 and a lot of those related games for a bunch of money. Sold a couple more here and there, and I sold this one, Heroes of Might and Magic 6. This one went for $26. This actually has a cloth map that goes with the game. I don't know if if it's actually complete. I think it may be missing a book, but I put all the pictures out there and said, hey, make sure it's everything you want. The box is a little beat up. It still went $26. So I remember enjoying these games too. These were fun. So late 90s, early 2000s fantasy games. Don't knock them. Particularly, the more valuable ones are the ones in the big boxes. Not just the ones that you could get in the CD cases, but you want the ones in the big boxes. Those tend to move a little bit better. So grab them, get them out. And finally, an auction. I haven't done an auction in years. And I ran across this out of that batch. It's called Dink Smallwood. This video game had a very limited run. And actually looked like it was a little bit of a cult classic game for a brief period of time, at least in the early 2000s. And so there wasn't many copies made, and it's actually freeware. And I didn't have a good idea of value on it, but I knew it was rare. So I decided, what the heck, let's do an auction. So I did a $25 start, got a bid pretty quickly, and it ended yesterday at $81 to someone in like Norway or Sweden or something. So it's going to be an international show, but eBay International is a lot better now. And so you almost don't have to worry about it anymore because eBay handles all that for you. So that is getting out today, and it makes me happy. So I want to say the last sale I could find at all was in something like 2012 or 2013, where it was like a mention on a message board that somebody had them for like $50. So I think, and now could I have sold it for over 100? Maybe, but I didn't have the data, and I didn't want to short myself when this could have possibly. I didn't know if this was a $300 game or not, so I didn't want to short myself too much. So I decided, let's do an auction, have some fun with it. So $81. That means retail. Buy it now. Could I have gotten 100, 150? Maybe, but this is what it is, and I'm not sad about it because I got it for so little. All right, that's my 4 sales. Now for yesterday's finds. Ton of fun, interesting stuff. We're going to start off with the books. Couple things. These keep popping up. A couple of books by a guy named Frank E. Peretti called This Present Darkness and Piercing the Darkness. I don't know that necessarily hate. This is almost Christian horror. And if you read them, it's angels and demons and that sort of stuff. I remember enjoying them when I was younger. I think I was a teenager when I heard the audiobooks on them. And I decided, they keep popping up. Let's take a look. So I grabbed them, and I realized as a set, this may be a $15 or so set, so I may need to start grabbing them now. So particularly when they're in good shape, and these are. So grab these, and we'll see if they go out. All right. Next up is like horror, sort of. Christmas Ghosts, an anthology. This is a bunch of short story ghost stories based around Christmas. It actually has Christmas Carol in it, or a briefer version of Christmas Carol that apparently Dickens would read out loud. So, and this is a nice leather-bound book. There was a handful of early mid-80s looking horror stuff that made it out to the shelf, but none of them were worth a bunch. It wasn't like they were the Zebra Horrors or some of the other paperbacks or something that made it out. So I looked them up, and I was a little surprised that they weren't worth a bunch, but they weren't. So, but I grabbed this one. I may grab those if they stay on the shelf and go to half price. I may get them, because there's a couple of Facebook communities that might be interested in them, but we'll see. But I wanted to get this one. I may put this one in one of those groups because I think it might sell. So this I went most partially off the it looks nice, and people like books that look nice on a shelf, and it's like horror ghost story stuff. Maybe we'll go. We'll see. Next up is, this is weird, but that's why I grabbed it. It's called the Hallelujah Scriptures. It's a set of books. It's got the Old Testament Apocrypha and a few other books that I think a lot more Jewish people have used. This is sort of a weird Jewish Bible. It's in English. They're all in English. But it's just very interesting translation choices. They take the name of God. They don't spell it out. It's actually kind of left in the in the form of Yahweh or something like that. It's just real interesting copies. And it looks these are going for like $20 to $30 a piece. So even for this little thin one of Judith, may be going as much as $15. So a real interesting set. So I'm curious if any more are going to show up when I go back Wednesday, if they're going to be any more there. So nice little find there. Okay, is that all? Oh no, that's not all the books. More. Nancy Drew. It's like, why are you buying Nancy Drew? These are older Nancy Drew books with the dust jackets. And I got a few other ones there. Most of the Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys books aren't worth a bunch, except very specific ones or a very specific set of them. Like I think there's like the yellow cover Hardy Boys books are worth a little or worth more. The other ones are like $2 to $3 books, and sometimes you gotta get you can't. It's hard to sell them as lots online. These are, if you can get them with the dust jackets, they're worth a little bit more, between $10 and $20 a book, I think. So that's what these are. These are like slightly older ones have the dust jackets. So, and there was a bunch I left on the shelf as well. They didn't have the dust jackets or something like that. So even sometimes the older ones aren't worth as much. Now, if they stay there and go to half price, I may grab them. But I don't really have. And if I had the room, maybe I felt I had more room, maybe I would grab them to stash them and figure something out with them. But without the dust jackets, they're really not worth as much. And these are, they're the yellow matte, but they are sort of later numbered ones. These are 39, 40, 48, and 50. And some of the later numbered ones, I may have had less print run or something, and so they tend to be a little more valuable. So these may be about $10 books a piece. And so I'm going to probably lot these up, and I'll lot those, load those up, and try to get them sold that way. All right. Finally, now for the last fun part. I bought, where does it go? This bag was filled up with random toys. My favorite way to buy toys. Because sometimes you don't know what you're going to get. And this is a not worthless batch, but this is like the flea market batch. It's going to go to the flea market. The whole thing was $10. So, not a lot of good, great cars, but those will go for the kids. I'll sell those $1 to 50 cents a piece at the flea market. Kids love them, snag them up. It's great. It's actually kind of great when it's kind of good for the parents who have a kid. It's like, can I buy me something? Buy me something. Here, buy this car for 50 cents. Fine. Here, you want a car? Here, take 2. Everybody comes out happy. But so what else was in there? Actually, this wasn't in there, but this was different. This is Batman Arkham Bane figure. It's missing some of the backpacky parts or something. With all the parts, it's like a $200 figure. I got it up for a little over $100. I think between $50 and $100 is where this guy's going to go. That's a neat find. He's going to go back here somewhere. But back to that. The other stuff that was in here, there's a handful of, if you remember these, Kidco made these key racers where you put the key in the back, turned it, and there's like a spring-loaded action in them or something like that. You can lot these up, and there's a handful of collectors that may snag them for a few bucks a piece. There's a couple communities that I'm going to probably list some of this stuff on. This is a fun one because it is a Magnum PI Ferrari. I think it's the Ferrari 308 that he drove. It's the key racer. It'd be cool to have the key to this one. But it's that one. And let's see. A few other. This is a weird car that has. It's a Ferrari 308, I think. It looks like it's a Testarossa, actually, I think. But I don't know. It's weird. But it has a switch on the bottom that retracts the roof on it. And it works. But it's by Blue Box, which isn't a very common brand. So we'll see how well this one does. It's one of those, it's like, it's not particularly common, but it's also not particularly valuable. But the right collector at the right time may snag it. And then, it's like for maybe 10, 15 bucks, that's kind of what I'm hoping on that one. And then, yeah, Transformers. There were some Transformers and GoBots in that bag, which made me happy. So, let's see. A couple of Stunticons with accessory. This thing's worth, this gun, probably worth the entire bag. This $10 to $15 Transformer weapon. If you don't know much about action figures, here's the big lesson. The accessories are where the value is out. Not necessarily the figures themselves unless they're super rare. It's because the accessories are what gets lost. So this is what you want to really find is the accessories. But these are a couple of Stunticon Transformers and some vintage GoBots. Most of the GoBots aren't worth a bunch, but some of these are in pretty decent shape. These two, these are $5 to $10 figures. This one may be worth a little bit more because it's a good condition. This is like a Porsche race car GoBot. And apparently it's worth a little bit more. So I don't know if it's because it's a little bit rarer or because it's a Porsche and it kind of has a couple of different Porsche collectors or something. I don't know. So anyway, that's what that is. And a helicopter missing some parts. So I haven't 100% decided how I'm going to sell these. I'm probably going to try them on some Facebook groups first and to see how those do. But that is some really good finds, some really good sales, and makes me happy. So, because this weekend was a little slow, and then it kind of picked up yesterday when this sold and a few things hit. So, hopefully the algorithm will like me a little bit more. I'm going to try and get some more stuff listed today. And because, as I said before, the eBay algorithm likes two things. One, it likes sales. It likes it when you list stuff that sells and sells quickly. You get bumped up. And two, it likes new listings. So if you get a new listing that sells fast, the eBay algorithm will boost your listings a little bit better. So that's how that kind of goes. All the other little nitpicky stuff, maybe sometimes makes a difference, maybe sometimes doesn't. So that's something to think about. So that's all I have today. I'm going to stop recording, but if you're viewing right now and you want to chime in, I'm going to end the recording, end the stream. So like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Hey viewers. Just wanted to see if anybody had any interesting thing to say. Y'all got jumped on a little bit late, but that's fine because y'all are here. But if you missed it, $81 video game, Dink Smallwood, original vintage, and I found Transformers. So that's the biggest, I think, thing for today. So. All right. Everyone have a good day. And I will talk to you next time. Oh. My lives are becoming part of your morning routine. Troy Price. Well, I'm sorry. Actually, thank you for watching. I think I told last night, Shane, thanks to Shane over at Soda City, told Shane last night, I only do these when I have something that really decent to talk about. So like I did this morning, usually Mondays I usually have something worth talking about, and then various parts of the week if I get a good hit or a good sale or something like that, though. So appreciate you jumping in. So outside of that, let's get this stuff packed up and out the door. And y'all be good.